As I welcome into Shaping Reality, sorry, we're a few minutes late. We were chatting. We are here with Penny Kelly, and I want to tell you guys a little aside that Penny and I generally touch base before we do the Shaping Reality every month. Like, what are you thinking about? What are you this and that? And I'll have to say, Penny sent me an email and said, "This is how I'm feeling," and I'm feeling exactly opposite. So, if you guys think we're always on the same page, we're certainly not. So this is going to be a lively discussion tonight. We're going to go through a lot of great points that Penny has brought up to me. I see things a little bit differently. I'm going to push back on some stuff. So let's kind of see how it settles out. Penny, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, very well. I'm especially celebrating that we're having some warm weather. We're out of the single digits and all our snow has melted, and it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah.
And are you ready for the holidays?
No. No. I'm going to get ready. It's
okay.
I only have a few days left, but
yes, it's getting close.
Yeah, I know. It's time. Yeah. So I know that, some of the things I'm going to bring up tonight are different than what you have been seeing, but I just have to say that I have been watching for such a long time. It's like, is anybody going to stand up? Is anybody going to tell the truth? Is anybody going to give a sign that we're moving in the right direction? And all of the crap just keeps pointing to, oh, it's falling apart. It's this, it's that. And I had an epiphany. This is kind of a dumb epiphany, but it was like, oh. And all of the arguments, all of the narratives, all of the, well, this is happening and that's happening, whatever it was about, all of that just kind of fell away about a week ago. And I had this simplification that everything that Trump was doing was to get rid of Brussels and the big banking system. It was, and I had said in the past, well, I think it's a banker's war, but that didn't sink in the way that it hit last week. And the realization that that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take down the big bankers, which is the deep state, and the criminal cabal and all of that, whatever name you want to give them, they're the ones that are pulling all the strings and making the decisions that just are screwing everybody, every country. And when I realized that it was just everything Trump was doing, there's all kinds of stuff I see him doing or not doing because he doesn't have time and energy for it, or it's not as important as the main task, which is taking down the banks and the Federal Reserve in such a way that they lose power, not that they're destroyed, but that they can't play their games anymore. And
okay, so can you give me an example of a move that you feel Trump has made to this end?
I can't, not a solid one. So some of it was intuitive. Some of it was an offhand comment that I heard, and I don't even know who said it. And then some of it was a piece that I read that there were, I think it was in RT, Russia Today, that there were back channel negotiations going on between Trump and Putin to end the war. And then something else that I heard that said, yeah, the Ukraine war is going to end. And then, you know how you collect pieces and you collect and you collect and they don't fit and they don't make a picture, and it's like, okay, which one of these is real, kind of thing. All of a sudden, and this is something that happens with intuition a lot, all of a sudden all the pieces come together and they form a picture, and the picture was That's the only thing Trump is trying to do, is keep the U.S. together and take down the big bank system, the big deep state, drain the swamp, in other words. And if he does that, if he ends the war in Ukraine, it's like, I kept thinking, what is the matter with Europe that they want that war to keep going? And they're talking about all this BS stuff that they can't possibly come up with the number of men they would need to keep that war going. They don't have the money. They're all bankrupt. There is absolute and utter chaos happening in London, in Germany, in France, in, oh my God, who else? Some in Spain, some not as bad. Bulgaria. The whole government of Bulgaria resigned last week because of protests, massive protests in the street. Lithuania, same thing. You're not hearing about those things. But when you go and look at the crowds in Lithuania, it's like, wow. Okay, that's going to come down. Every single country is really fighting their government. And that is what I had seen, had known, that 2020.
I remember you saying that about a year ago, that what you saw was every country fighting their government, and that certainly is the case now.
That's right.
So here, I have a couple of questions because I feel differently about this, but
okay,
I don't have that broader intuitive sense that you do. Then why would we send money, billions, to Ukraine if Trump's intention is to end the war?
I don't know. And I don't know that money will ever get there, or the weapon, the military stuff. Somebody that I read or heard said, oh, that was very nice of Trump to offer that money and those weapons, but it'll be 10 years before we can get that money together and produce those weapons. And I thought, oh, that's all for show. That's not real.
That would make sense to me then. My second point is, and this is based on nothing other than a sense of unease I have.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I don't know that A is Trump. If there's a Trump double that they parade out that says one thing, and then the actual Trump comes out and says one thing, if there's a battle behind the scenes or cameras on whoever the Trump that they want to put forward is, maybe there's a weird kind of, goings on there. And I am not convinced at this point, Kenny, based on what I've seen, that the whole Trump phenomenon wasn't just a psyop.
It could have been. It could have been. You can never just, I shouldn't say this. If you're going to be watching the world of politics, you can never just pick a side and say, okay, it's done. I can go back to watching, All in the Family or whatever, your favorite thing is.
And that's a big issue I have, is part of my whole position. So I see that.
I would love that. I would love to, that the thing that we have been almost ruined over is the belief that we don't have to be involved in our government. The attitude, the demand that we be there, that we think, that we just vote every 4 years. What kind of BS is that?
Yes.
That's just coming to an end, and people are exhausted by the having to try and figure out what the heck is that government doing? Who are those people? And what are they trying to make happen? And why aren't they listening? And so that whole level of exhaustion is going to force a slowdown. If nothing else, it's going to force a slowdown, because you can only attend to so many details at once and so much involvement at once. And I see huge changes just in that. I don't know that to respond to your comment about, is that really Trump? I don't know if that's real. I don't think it's really Trump, because the energy doesn't feel like the real Trump. Once or twice I've seen Melania near this other Trump, this guy who doesn't feel or look like Trump, like the original Trump. And I think to myself, is she just doing that? Is she just showing up because it lends credibility and her husband is protected somewhere else? This guy is, if he's not Trump, if he's honorable, that's a big if, then he's putting his life at risk. And so is she. But in order to make it look like that's really Trump, she shows up. I've seen her twice with him in the last, 6 months. It's not very often. So we don't know. If it's not the real Trump, then we're going to, and if that is not an honorable, what do you call it, clone, double, etc., then we are being led down the garden path, and that's going to blow up in that guy's face. I'm sorry. If people were already, the population, all the populations are at a boiling point. And if that boils over here in the U.S., there's some conversation about what's going on with Venezuela. Why is the U.S. attacking oil tankers? And they have a plausible reason for doing so, but they don't say a single word. They don't say anything. And one of the financial people that I was listening to said, why hasn't there been any, not a single official explanation? All kinds of narratives, but that's it. They're all narratives. Why has the government itself not said anything about why they're taking, that first tanker? There were 6 other tankers in the area. Why just that one? What was with that one? And the guy who was talking said, my hunch is that there were, what was the term? There were soldiers on board who were coming to the Americas to help foment civil war in the U.S. And Trump just said, nope, sorry, we're not doing that. And you're done. And so my logic, which was just logic, is like, okay, there's a possibility, is he's going after Venezuela because Venezuela is the home of where all of the voting election control happens. It's all the computers that control the elections and get people into power that should not be in power. All that happens through Venezuela. It's like, oh, he's probably going after them. So that's another possibility, but we don't know yet. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so we have a lot of things that are, I think, going to be uncovered, ba-boom, 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 over this next year. And and I think it'll change some of that narrative. It'll shock a lot of people. And if we can see that, hear that, take in that information without blowing up, we can sort of ease through this incredible transition that we're going through. So I think the old system is going to fall apart. Okay.
Well, I definitely agree there. One of the points I want to bring up is something that we've talked about in a different light. And that is the fact that we'll call them the naughty boys or the deep state. They're a small group of people. We're billions.
I know.
And what finally hit me this week is the fact that we are billions, in this case, is not an advantage.
Because why?
Because although there's all that consciousness, which has so much potential, that number causes a severe dilution of responsibility. No one feels like it's their job. There are a few on the planet that do feel like being awake and aware and
Right.
paying attention is their job. Most people want to sit on the couch and watch Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
And most people, it's like particularly women my age, and I see their position because I have a channel that deals with women that age.
Yeah.
They're like going to get the vapors if they have to pay attention. There is not the sense that this is my planet. This is our planet. I need to be engaged. I need to be involved. And
Okay.
it's that dilution because of our huge numbers. I almost feel like that if we had 200 very focused people with a particular goal in mind, we'd be better off.
Yeah.
Because all that wishy-washy consciousness that wants to deny or deflect or to not look at the tough issues, that is muddying up the focus. We don't have a focus.
You got a real point there. However, what I noted in some of the most exciting, what would I say, talks coming out of Congress are the young people. They're 40s, they're in their 30s and 40s, got elected, and they're in the House of Representatives or they're in the state legislature. They're young and they're sharp. They are paying attention. And I don't think, the, what did you say? The ones that just, if they had to pay attention, they would need their vapors or something like that. It's not going to be their job. They've already run the world while it was their turn to run it. And of course, it's been kind of run into the ground. And the young people are seeing that, and some of them are just so sharp and so smart and so willing to stand up and talk. And I love that.
Yeah.
And so the older folks, they need to support those younger ones, at least mentally, because the consciousness has a big effect all by itself. So yeah, there's we're going to see a lot of what I call retirees retire further because they just can't deal with it. And a lot of them haven't really taken care of themselves, so they're not in shape to do anything. It's going to come to the young ones, and they're a whole different generation. They're a whole different mindset.
And come to the young ones as it should. I agree with you. I'm impressed with there have been some people I've seen that I'm like, yeah, we need more of that. And I do.
Yes.
The sentiment that I'm seeing across the US, and clearly it's happening in Europe, people are either like, we're done. We've had it up to here, you know. And I see that in the US, and I'm on the team of pull it all down.
It is coming down. That's what Trump is doing, but he's trying to, if he's honest, and if he's doing what he says he's doing, he's trying to take it down and build it up at the same time. And it's like, who do we listen to? It's crazy making.
And I think that crazy making stuff, like no acknowledgement of Venezuela or what the game plan is. The way the Epstein release happened on Friday, that was complete disregard for the law.
Yep.
Just like, we're not going to do it, and there's nothing you can do. And that to me is a bad sign.
I thought when I saw that Dan Bongino was retiring, was leaving, was resigning, I thought that's why. He has had it up to here with lies and games and BS. He doesn't care what the price would be to tell the truth. He wants the truth. And he's going back to podcasting. And I thought, well, there's just no there's no way to tell the truth right now without giving away the whole effort that is being done to take down some people that they're still trying to get to. And so, and Pam Bondi, she's in the same boat. She's just had it up to here. Who else? Cash Patel is lying through his teeth. So,
but I think that confusion is intentional, because if we're confused and we don't know where to hold on, even people that are highly intuitive, that is a dissolution or a diminishment of the power of our consciousness. If we don't know where to look or where to focus or who to trust. And I tell you, I am so over the trust thing that I'm just done with the whole nonsense.
Yeah, you have to trust yourself.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So let me say something about big game plans. Okay. And this is a planetary wide game plan. You're going to have a huge group of people that are either uninformed or don't care, they're on the couch, etc., or they don't think it's their problem, or they don't really know what's going on, or they're too religious, or they're too irreligious, or. And so they don't pay attention. That's a big group of people. When you have a big plan, a planetary-wide plan that you're trying to carry out, you have to be playing to the lowest link in the chain, okay? Right. And it's the lowest link in the chain. If they blow up, then all your efforts to try to save your civilization are done, because the fools that don't really know what's going on and they're just angry, they're pissed, they're going to blow it up, and it's going to be ruined, and it's going to be way worse than it had to be. So, excuse me. So we have a large group of those, and I think that's part of the cautionary piece of this. And then there's the people that are watching, feeling helpless. I think we're in that group. It's like, okay, what can we do? We can't do anything. We don't have any power that would directly impact or cause relief for the planet at this point in time. We can only hold a mindset, a hope, an attitude, some honor, some ethics, some integrity. That's right. It. And and you go through it. And I don't think we're done going through. I don't know that we're going to be able to hold it together while it's coming apart. Does that sound contradictory?
No, I get it.
It's coming apart.
I've come down to the point that the only thing I can do now, because you guys, this is the truth. I don't think we're going to make it.
Okay.
I think a few of us are going to. I'm sorry.
You don't think we're going to make it as what?
To be honest with you, I think that they're as incredible as Earth humans are.
Yeah,
and I have such a respect and admiration for this particular meat suit. I mean, we are so resilient, and our bodies are amazing, and our ability to be creative is amazing, and our ability to do so many things is stunning. And I am so appreciative to have this opportunity to be on this planet right now. I really am.
Yeah.
However, I think that there are some flaws in this particular iteration. And the one flaw that I see right now that has been really, really unfortunate is a good and bad thing. And that is our emotions. Our emotions create so much power, but they also create an opportunity for us to be brutally manipulated.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like that the fact that we can be so emotionally manipulated, i.e., you're going to kill grandma. Oh, look at the Twin Towers fell down and those bad guys did it. We get sucked along and hoodwinked over and over and over again because of that emotional component. And I feel like if we're going to continue on, there either has to be such a focus on common sense and critical thinking, or there's got to be some tinkering with our genetic makeup so that we're not getting fooled repeatedly.
Well, let me say that's the emotional thing. Let's focus on that. That is something that I have been despairing about for a long time. It's like, oh my God, people are just so easily manipulated. And why are they so easily manipulated? Because they've been shut out. They don't know the truth. And so they're left guessing. Okay. So along comes this whole group of people, and Ilhan Omar is the prime example there. Every time you point fingers at that kind of person and say, this is not right and that's not right, and now we have all the fraud in Minnesota. Oh my gosh. And the fighting going on, it's like hand-to-hand combat in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. And all of that is happening. And so Ilhan comes under scrutiny, and she's part of the Foreign Affairs Committee in Washington, D.C. So she's the face of America to other countries. And she's anti-American, 100%. She just, I'm like, woman, shut your mouth if you can't, say something good about America. So, so she gets in this hearing, she's fighting this whole move or this talk about we need a new system of e-verification, which is electronic databases of people who are in the country legally or illegally. And she's up there, she and AOC, what are they doing? They're pulling the race card. They're pulling the victim card. They're pulling the whole, you're prosecuting or you're persecuting me because I'm Islamic, or I'm an immigrant, or I'm a woman, or whatever. That whole victim thing. And we being the United States, the people of the U.S., have been like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult you, or I didn't mean to make you feel bad or unwanted or whatever. And that argument, that is called identity politics. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how fraudulent you've been. It doesn't matter how dishonest. What matters is I have this identity. And if you attack me, then you're really, you are the criminal. You are persecuting somebody who is an immigrant, who is a woman, who is a different race, who is a different religion, who is, whatever. And that was the card that they played, that she and AOC played in those hearings this week or last week. And it just, 2-3 women. First, a woman that she had up there to say why we shouldn't have an e-verification system. And by the time that woman got done talking, it was clear that we should have an e-verification system, but we weren't capable of managing that kind of system because we had old technology and all kinds of problems and all kinds of fraudulent systems and et cetera, et cetera. So, so Ilhan's argument was like, okay, was that woman helpful or was she not helpful? And she really was not helpful. She basically said, no, you can't have an e-verification system because we're not capable of managing such a thing given the situation that we're in. So then another woman gets up there and she says, look, this isn't about race or identity or any of that. This is about accountability. Then another woman gets up there and says, look, this is about consistency. And what was the other thing? I think accountability was her thing as well. And she said, this woman has consistently been spewing anti-American talk, even in the committee meetings. I'm on a committee meeting with her. I've heard that. I don't think we should have that kind of person representing the face of America. And the whole identity argument thing, the whole, oh, she's, Ilhan's a victim of religious persecution or illegal persecution, whatever. All that just kind of fell apart. It's like those women were saying, we don't care what color you are. We don't color what race you are or what religion you are. It's behavior. It's your behavior and your attitude and being accountable for that. If somebody breaks a law and you've broken your oath to defend America, then even if you say you're sorry, it doesn't matter. You still have to pay the price. Breaking the law and saying, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, that doesn't work. And so that's the first time I've seen a mood, somebody able to rise to answer and deflect all of that identity BS. Oh, poor me, I'm a victim, and blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, look, this is how you talk. You don't deserve to be on this committee. You don't deserve to be in the Congress of the United States of America. And it was such a hopeful moment right there. It's like, oh my gosh, somebody has finally figured out a way to get around all of that identity politics BS. And so I think that's a sign of great hopefulness. And the Democrats just they sort of withered away,
Well, I think that sounds like common sense and maturity.
Well, duh.
which shouldn't be a rare thing.
But it is. It is. We're immature. Americans across the board are immature, and they're kept immature because they're not allowed to be responsible for anything that matters. And that's where your test of maturity and wisdom comes in. So,
and I completely agree. And I think that part of it, and I think we're seeing more and more of it now, Penny, particularly around the disclosure issue, around, you brought up very succinctly the Venezuelan issue, that we have not been informed. It is a consistent pattern of, I don't know if it's removing our rights as citizens. That sounds a little victim-y, but there's an attitude that we are not players in this very important game.
That is true. And that is the big mistake. I think what Washington is trying to do is keep everybody in the dark until they are ready to disclose what they want or need or have to disclose. And then they want us to support and get on board. But when you've not been allowed to be a player, you end up just like everybody is now. Well, I don't know. Turn the channel. I don't want to hear any of that. That's the result of not being engaged and not being invited to speak and to be heard. And I myself, for probably 35, 40 years, have felt like nobody in Washington is listening because they weren't.
They don't care.
No, they didn't.
Their agenda has nothing to do with us.
I see that's turning finally. So it's not a whole lot to go on and to pin your hopes on. It could be pinning the tail on the donkey and you end up getting kicked in the face. But there's a couple of other signs that I see that if Trump and Putin are talking back channel talk and they're going to end that war in Ukraine, they're going to take down Europe. They're going to take down Brussels and the big banking system. And that's a big deal. That frees up Russia, China, the US, India, everybody, and all those new systems that they've been putting in place, the SIPS system, the BRICS system, all of that now comes into play, and gold-backed money can be put out there. We are going to end up with new money So all that money people are hanging on to.
You
Yeah,
mean dollars, cash?
yeah, dollars in banks and bonds and IRAs and 401ks. I'm not sure that that's going to be worth a plug nickel, as my dad used to say.
Okay, and so here's more of Kimberly's pessimism.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm around.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that they're prepping to take down the monetary system. One of my concerns about that is that they're going to say, your bank has gone under, but we're gonna make you whole with these CBDCs.
They might do that, and people
And
will have to choose.
all those couch sitting wheel of fortune are going to say, well, what can we do, Mabel? We'll just take the CBDCs.
Right.
And that right there is, in my opinion, and this sounds harsh, I guess this is just, I'm not in this holiday spirit, clearly.
It's okay.
But
Be honest.
in my opinion, if a person is not going to be as engaged and informed as they possibly can, to as much as they're able to understand and stay abreast, you're nothing but a drag on the system. There are so many people working so hard.
I know.
Try to get us to a place that we can have this incredible planet with this brilliant population doing wonderful things. And if you're going to sit on the couch watching Wheel of Fortune saying, well, Mabel, I guess we have to take the CBDCs, you are undermining the efforts of the people that are trying. And I would just as soon have you let go of the boat. Just
okay. Let me. So remember me saying, I can't remember if it was 2 months ago or 3 months ago, that what I saw was that the people that were trying to save our civilization were going to have to put in place some things that we were not going to like in order to assure that they could keep control of the system. Now, control is a bad word for a lot of people right now. It's a CDC. That's one of their control mechanisms. But what I was seeing at the time, and I didn't harp on it too much, although I wanted to, was, look, I think we're going to have to go for some of those CBDCs because that's going to allow the government to track the illegal aliens and the extraterrestrial aliens that are trying to hide within the system. And you can't have a working, let me say it this way. I know that I'm going to argue with myself in a minute, okay? But you can't have a system coming out of the trauma that we've been through for the last 60 years without instituting some severe controls that allow you to really track who's doing what, who's going where, who's saying what, who's, and that's to help protect the children as more than anything else. Okay, so the part of me that says, but I don't, but isn't there some other way? There might be, and so far that just hasn't appeared yet. But if Trump institutes a gold-backed system, CBDC, that's going to be very attractive to a lot of people. And what that's going to require, what that's going to demand down the road is that we get even more involved with what is happening in our government. And we may still break into some pieces. Actually, I was sharing in my Zoom stream last Thursday that I had this vision, and I interpreted it one way in that vision, but the vision, I get into bed like last Wednesday night or Tuesday or Monday, whatever it was, like a week ago. And and I'm not asleep. I'm just kind of looking up at the ceiling, kind of mindlessly, other thoughts going through. And all of a sudden, the ceiling cracked into a million cracks. You know how a lake or a mud puddle looks when the water is gone and it's dried out and it cracks? That's what it looked like. And I'm looking at that thinking, oh, what happened to the ceiling? And right then I see a snake move. It was so shocking. I swear to God, that looked like a real snake moving across the ceiling. And it was a big snake. It wasn't a garter snake. It was probably 2 or 3 inches in diameter. And my shock at that point was realizing, oh, I'm having a vision. And what I thought maybe that meant was that the United States was going to crack and come apart. But the snake moving across, the snake is the symbol of consciousness, of awakened consciousness. And it is the symbol of consciousness because snakes move like this. And that's what a frequency does. Okay. So the ancients use the snake as their symbol of consciousness. So I think my first thought was that's the US breaking up, cracking into all the states. They all want to be separate and do their own thing. But what that snake coming across that meant was that we were waking up to something that was way more powerful than worrying about whether the United States was going to keep its current form or move into another even better, higher consciousness form. And so I've kind of held that in the back of my mind thinking, okay. And it was after that vision that I realized, a couple of days later, the pieces that I'm seeing that are like, oh my gosh, I see little signs that we're standing up, that we're turning the corner, that the war is going to end. I think the war is going to end in the Ukraine war. It's going to end in January, maybe March, but somewhere in that period. I thought in January. I thought it was going to be my birthday present. So, and that was like the first thing of like, okay, I see why Trump is insisting on ending that war. It's because it will break Brussels and all of the banking corruption it'll break up the EU. And so that's another part of that vision of cracking up, cracking up. So as I look at the fact that I still feel that Trump is going to end the war. Trump and Putin are going to end the war. And that Ilhan standing up to play her victim card and then getting taken down. It was like, oh, wow. Okay. And then the change in did I mention it already? Or were we just talking about it beforehand? The change in the welfare where people...
Go ahead and share that. We talked about it before we came on.
Okay. So the third thing that I saw that was like, oh my gosh, real change happening for us, the people on the ground. Just this, I think in the last week or so, Trump's Office of Legal Counsel, I think it's called the OLC. They put out a ruling, and the ruling said no more money, no more welfare for illegal aliens, no more welfare for legal aliens if they are here. So let me back up a step. And I personally experienced this. I had some people that worked in the vineyard that wanted me to sponsor them coming to the U.S. And I said, I can't. When I read all the details, it was like, this is a family of 10. and if I signed that sponsorship, it really allowed them into the country legally. And I would be financially responsible for them. Well, what happened is that a lot of people signed sponsorships. I ended up saying, no, I can't do that. I would, I'm barely making it here. I can't take on a family of 10. And so the so they got in. I don't know if somebody else sponsored them or if they just kind of came in. They were illegal and I didn't realize that, until they came to me with this sponsorship thing. But then they started immediately. They hired a lawyer and started the process of, we want to be legally here. And they are legal now. They went through that whole long process, cost a fortune. But what Trump's declaration from the Office of Legal Counsel said was that anybody who signed a sponsorship for an alien or an illegal family who then came in and got welfare may have to pay all of that money back to the federal government. And I was like, oh my God, that's the fact that they can't get welfare anymore. It's like, okay, that's enough of a trauma. But anybody who signed sponsorships and may have to pay that money back to the federal, all that welfare that they got has to be paid back. I don't know if they'll actually pursue those people, but they have now the legal means to do that. So that is huge. That is huge. And how many people are in this country they're illegals, they're getting money, they're getting welfare, they're getting food stamps, all sorts of things. Medicare, Medicaid, whatever. All of that, if they're just turned loose, that's chaos. That worries me. That's such a disruption. I don't know when that actually takes effect, but the statement by the federal government was, if you can't afford to live here, leave. I was like, whoo, ouch. That's pretty like a kick in the rear. That's almost a kick in the face or a punch in the gut.
Well, it's a lack of motivation. It's like it's very motivating to come to the U.S. if your life's going to be paid for.
Well, yeah, I know. And that was the other part of the ruling, said it was illegal from this point forward for people to support legislation that would invite illegals to come and live here. And I thought, oh my goodness. So there's some big moves being made, big moves. And they are, I think, good, and they're going to have a huge impact on a lot of people. I don't know how many people are on welfare. I was going to look that up, but I never got to it.
You mean people from other countries on welfare here in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Not U.S. citizens.
Right. And now they're going to start something called means testing. Do you have the means to support yourself? Mm-hmm. If you have the means to
do that, you can't just move to Italy.
I know. Or look at Singapore. You can't even consider going to Singapore if you're not a college graduate who brings something of huge value that they need. You can't just be bringing your huge value if they don't need it. They are very picky.
Other countries require so much in your savings account, so much monthly income. And we're inviting people in and saying, we're going to pay for your health care and your food.
Yeah, right.
I know. And that right there to me is the lack of common sense and maturity. I mean,
I know. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible in terms of the country, the nation, the people that are coming in. It's irresponsible across the board. So it's really.
And when is it going to hit home? And I'm talking in particular about those in the U.S. So if you're outside of the U.S., You probably won't feel it like we feel it. When I saw what the DOJ did on Friday with the Epstein
Oh,
files,
yeah.
what I thought was they did that because they knew there would be no repercussions.
Mm.
And that means that there is a plan in the works to make sure that no one ever is held to account for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when the US population, I mean, and Mike Benz did one of his little Twitter or X things. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with Mike Benz. You are. And he went through, and he's mostly focused on financial issues, which he's really very competent at. He
Mhm.
outlined that Jeffrey Epstein moved an airline that was under the umbrella of the CIA to be near his residence so Epstein could use it for his use.
Yeah, I had heard something along those lines.
So my point is that when the American people realize, at least for the last 60 years, probably more, we have no idea of knowing that the money we've been paying, not only in income tax, but sales tax and property tax and death tax, and you sneezed, so now we're going to tax you.
Right.
When
Everything.
they realize that that money has been used for whatever the people in power wanted to use it for, while our veterans, our elderly are living on crumbs,
I know.
literally have been fleeced for
Absolutely.
decades with absolutely no regard for
Yep.
the fact that we're paying for all these things that we will never utilize, never even know about.
I
So
know.
when that anger sets in, Penny, what's going to happen?
People are going to fight. And I have a couple times I've thought, okay, that really makes me angry to think about all those taxes going where? We don't know.
Underground
So,
cities that we'll never even set foot in.
yeah. Yeah. Whatever. It didn't go where we thought it was supposed to go, period. So so when you let yourself get angry about that and think, okay, how do we prevent that from ever happening again? Well, that's a big deal. And that is where I think we're being pushed to have to get to a place where we are willing to get off the couch and pay attention and have some input, and that if we break, if the vision of the breaking is all the states begin breaking out away from the US, that really is going to force a lot of people to say, no, wait a minute, let's talk about this tax thing. We're not having this. And here's where I'm at just recently. It's like, okay, so we have these computers where they just enter ones and zeros and twos and threes and tens and millions of dollars, and now we gave you a loan for $200,000 to buy a house, and we're going to collect interest 7% on that.
And
So,
it's numbers on a screen.
right. So somebody along the line is going to say, and I hope it's in my lifetime, that, hey, if you can create something out of nothing, if you can create money out of nothing, why do we even bother with money?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have money at all? It isn't real. You're just, my attitude lately has been, okay, go ahead, create that CBDC. It's just a bunch of computer programs. If something happens and somebody pulls a plug, or we have an EMP, or we have a huge, blast from the sun, shuts down everything, well, then we're just going to have to get along without money. So there's a part of me is like, okay, serves them right. But on a more serious note, that whole situation of living in with that kind of anger, that's going to have to come out, because you can't hold that kind of anger without doing in your physical system.
Yeah.
And that's a big issue.
Yeah.
So
It makes you sick.
yeah, it does.
I want to zoom out a little bit, and
Okay.
this has been on my mind so much. So we're talking boots on the ground, incarnated humans walking around in these meat suits on planet Earth,
Okay.
and all the little frustrations and wrongs and misappropriations of funds and screwing over people and da 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 da. What if we zoom out and we start looking at the universe as a whole? There are no coincidences. Nothing happens by accident.
Right.
And so you have this incredibly beautiful planet with so much diversity on it. It's a living library.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
so much on this. This planet is amazing. I mean, look at Mars. Compare Mars to the Earth. Two completely different things.
That's the way a lot of them are.
Yeah, I don't want to live on Mars. So we have this incredible planet, and we have this very robust population. There are billions of us. A lot of civilizations have 2,500. So we're billions on this incredible planet. And the broader intelligence in the universe is looking at this thinking, this is not working out. These people are not engaged. They're not paying attention. They're immature from the time they're born until they die at 87. They never come into their own. I'm totally getting what you've been saying for years, that we are not yet fully human. I feel like I totally understand that now.
Okay. Yeah.
And so if you want to take this physically robust population with so much potential and grow them up, what do? You do exactly what's going on in this planet right now.
Ta-da. Very good. Yeah, I have to agree. Okay. It's like a bunch of teenagers who have to figure out that can't work.
Much more obnoxious, and yeah. And so I've been trying to think, how is this gonna play out? How is this gonna play out? And I can't come up with anything. But what I do see as the end point is a much smaller population.
Yeah.
An agrarian type of lifestyle, very connected to the earth, and very, very engaged and aware.
Yeah.
And deeply invested, not only in themselves, but in their family and their community. There's no more, oops, I got pregnant. There's no more people acting like a child at 50. There is a population that is on point, healthy, focused, fully human, fully awake, fully engaged, that can take this planet, which is incredible in my mind, to heights that we probably can't even imagine right now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. One of the things that I've been feeling for months is that there's some sort of physical stuff happening with the planet, like earthquakes type things. And the other day I happened to, I was busy working on my new garden tarot book and my YouTube thing was playing in the background. I wasn't really listening. And then, you know how it plays automatically. I don't usually let that happen, but I didn't want to interrupt. And this video came on with Baba Vanga. I think that's how you say her name. Some predictions that she made for 2026. And I stopped for a minute. I thought, are those real? Did she really target 2026, or somebody making that up or whatever? But I listened to it, and there were several predictions. They said that had been sealed. She had not wanted to say what these predictions were because they were heavy. And the first thing was that in 2026, the voice of the earth will rise. And I thought, oh, that's the planet. And I keep connecting to Mother Earth saying, it's okay. It's okay, sweetheart. We're getting there. We'll get there. And then one of my students, or one of the people on the Zoom stream, she's from Wales. She said, what did you mean when you said that the dream of Mother Earth was that we would wake up and take her with us? And that was just, I was chewing on that. It's like, I need a better answer for that. What does that mean? And so I ended up tapping into Mother Earth to say, what do you mean? What do you mean you want us to take you with us? Where are we going? and she said, what I meant was, it was a way of saying, I want you to recreate me at a higher level without all this difficulty. And I was like, oh, okay, I get that. And that's, I think, what we're doing, or going to be faced with doing. So I think in the, actually, as we move ahead to a better world, there are less people. If the voice of the planet rises, we may see some difficulty, either volcanoes or earthquakes or I often encourage my students to read the book Living is Forever. And it is just such a relevant book right now. Living is, it's a fictionalized true story. And so anyway, so we're moving toward new energy. I see that. In fact, that whole Trump Social plus some company called TAE. Did you see?
I haven't heard of it.
Trump Social either merged with or bought or was purchased by or did some sort of merger with this company called TAE. Well, TAE is a nuclear fusion company. And I'm like, okay, yeah, those two things go together every day. How does that work? And so I went and listened to some of the talk and some of the press releases and the conversations about it. And it's really Trump saying, look here, we need a new kind of energy that's cheaper, more available. Nuclear fusion is so much cleaner than nuclear fission, so much safer. And I thought, oh, that's really odd. Trump is moving in every direction to get us moving in a direction that will be somehow better. And that, that's just one example. People are waking up to the food problem. Oh, it's a serious problem, what's happening with the food. And so, so there's hope. There's hope, even if there's only 500,000 of us left on the planet. The people that are left are just what you said. They're sharp, they're awake, they're focused, they're intent, they're busy inventing like you wouldn't believe. That was one of the good things I saw with the robes. The changes were like, they were too much to keep up with. The inventions that were better for humanity were happening too fast to keep up with.
I see them as almost a completely new human.
Yeah. Yeah. Fully awake, fully mature. A lot of the stuff that we have cried about, we need this, we can't be doing that, we ought to be doing such and such, we're doing. I mean, not in our generation. Our generation is pretty much, we were the start. Did you ever read the Fourth Turning by Neil Howe and I forget the other guy?
I haven't, but now I want
to. You could probably get a shortened version of it somewhere online, but we're in the end of the fourth turning, and it all collapses in that fourth turning. But it isn't dead. It isn't over.
It's not over. And
Yeah.
I do see, when I zoom out and, I start not being so emotionally invested in what's happening right here, right now. But when I say, okay, what's the bigger plan? Because the universe is not screwing around here. The universe, there's point and purpose to all of this. And when I look at it, I think we are, for whatever reason, those of us on the planet right now, incarnated, we are engaged in such a tremendous learning experience.
Oh, yes. Oh, my.
It's like, and none of it is for naught. None of it is useless. It is, there will be us in the future, 400, 500, 1,000 years from now, that will know very clearly we've tried that, it doesn't work.
That's right.
We did that, it doesn't work. And the learning, because so much is going awry, everything that's going awry is such an important lesson for how to get this to the point that it becomes a brilliant experiment.
Yeah, a learning experience across the board that you'd have to be a dunce to miss.
Yeah.
You can't just kind of blow it off. So we're at a place, I think, where, as I feel like I've been looking for signs of that turning, no pun intended there on the fourth turning, of turning the corner, of people standing up, of things beginning to look and sound like they have some ethics and they have some maturity behind them and some honesty and some truth behind them. And I finally am seeing that. And it's like, oh my God, it's not hopeless. Yes, it's messy. Yeah, it's probably going to get messier. And China is it's already a foregone conclusion that China is going to be the next superpower. And the US is going to go through about 10 years of hiding in the background, trying to get its bricks in a pile. But then it does. It does, and it's a different structure. But the people, I think, people are good no matter where they are on the political, financial, emotional spectrum. We need people. You don't have a country if you don't have people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you don't have a vital planet without people.
Yeah. Yeah, and all of this is really, I like what you said a minute ago. How'd you say that? It's driving us. It is. It drives us in an evolutionary way. We have to evolve, and that's how it happens. We're, so my attitude is like, just hold the line, just hold the fort. Yeah, the walls are being scaled and it looks a little, like we're not going to make it, but we will. Somebody will. Some people will. And for those that don't make it, if they hold the line right up to the very end, that's still a gift. It's a huge gift to the young ones coming up who have to figure out, okay, where do we go from here? What are we doing?
And I think it's a huge gift to each soul.
Yes.
It's like because I can't see how this is going to unfold, but I do think I see where it's going. The beginning of the fresh start. I feel like I can see that.
Yeah.
And I won't be here by then. It's going to be down the road. But
you might be.
Maybe that would be fun. I honor and I value and I really am tickled to be here right now, although it's not always fun, because of the lessons I'm learning in a broader arena. To be on any planet when there's this much potential growth just right over the horizon, that's a gift.
Oh gosh, yes. That's why there's such a big population here right now. You know,
Oh, that's a
people
good
came
point.
because they know that when there's big drama, there's big evolutionary strides
Mhm.
and clairvoyance, telepathy. Everybody's always interested in those kinds of gifts, and those are the kinds of things that really work. The intuition comes on full bore when you're under this kind of pressure, and change is just every day there's something else, like, now what? So yeah.
I think, maybe one of the things that those of us who are engaged in this conversation need to get to is that regardless of what's happening,
Yeah.
maybe the response is, "That's exciting."
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Oh
stop
my.
worrying. That's exciting. That's
Yeah,
exciting. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
We don't know. We don't know how it's going to play out, but that's what forces attention, paying attention, and being present, in order to see, okay, what's possible given this moment at this time. And that's those who are paying attention. Those are the ones who will survive. And I think we're already, the last 5 years and the next 5 years are very exciting, to use your term.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It'll be okay.
It's gonna be, I mean, everything's gonna be okay. It's
Yeah.
just, and I think that that's part of the human experience is that investment in the drama and the
Oh
ups and
gosh.
the downs and the reliefs and the frustrations and all of that. But I think that you made a very good point about the anger. We're
Yeah.
going to have to figure out as a collective, I don't know if it's just the US or planet wide, how do we deal with that betrayal?
One thing to keep in mind is that anger is change energy that hasn't been allowed to go anywhere. So when you run into that anger, instead of trying to dump it on somebody, the goal is to channel that constructively. There's a huge energy behind anger, and that's wonderful. Emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical energy that can
Mhm.
be channeled in a particular direction.
Well,
So,
how would you, like, if sexual energy is our strongest energy,
yeah,
would anger be a close second?
yeah, right up there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think as we move into better maturity, higher levels of maturity, that whole sexual thing, we're going to have to redo that whole sexual issue, and we're going to have to channel that anger into something useful. So, and some of that usefulness may be taking down the things that don't deserve to be continued,
Yeah.
but the bigger portion of it has to go into, wait a minute, let's not shoot ourselves in the foot. The timing has to be just right. Don't take that down until we have something to hang on to over here.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Has this is a random question, kind of
Mm.
related. Is there another internet in the background that's been developed?
Well, yes, but
We need
we
it.
can't say much about that.
Yeah. We
There's two, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I if I was one of the elites right now, one of the naughty boys, I'd be
Uh-huh.
spending all my time figuring out how I'm gonna get off this planet.
Oh, they have already figured that out. Some of them have already left.
Yeah, the smart ones, because I'll tell you,
Yeah,
if you're left behind on this planet after what has happened and people are aware of where you are,
I know. I know. I was watching, um, I don't know if it was France or England, some of the big tractors,
I
um,
know,
was coming
fueling the
in.
war,
Yeah, somebody got
so
run over.
satisfying.
I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Even the police were like backing off, like, oh, and the guy with the big tractor, he had like a scooper, and I was like, scoop them babies up and put them somewhere else. And that I think there's going to be some efforts to big backlash to farmers, the same way that there was backlash for the truckers in Canada. So, my message to the farmers is don't give up. If they don't have anything to eat, they'll change their mind after a while. So,
Yeah.
and that is the attitude of the people, of the farmers in England.
Yeah.
We'll starve you.
I wish that we would see that kind of
energy
action in the U.S.
Trump is trying to prevent that. I'm not sure that that's healthy, but that's what he is all out to prevent, is that kind of uproar.
So you think that's why the National Guard is in these different cities
and ICE and all of that. Homeland Security. I don't like a Homeland Security. I don't trust them at all. But they are the effort to clean out the cities. I saw a video today about China. They're already starting down the same path that we're on. I'm like, you guys, you don't really want to be the top dog in the world. You don't want to be the major power, etc., the major financial power either. People have just been deleted, and a lot of them are young people. They're living on the streets. They're sleeping on the streets and in the parks, just like here. And I'm like, it starts with a few, and then it ends up being thousands and then tens of thousands. It's like, watch out, China. That's not good.
Well, and I think that's a result of that top-down control structure. It doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. You can't just erase people, cut them out from their bank account. What are they going to do? Where are they going to go?
Well, I think we would like them off the planet. I mean, we're just in the way for these people who are in control. We've built everything. We've paid for them to build everything.
I know.
Their little dystopian future. We've built it all. They don't need us anymore.
They need us. They don't know that, but they need us. If they go any further, they're going to find out why they need us. So I won't say anymore. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're getting kind of close to the end of our time. I don't know if this has been uplifting or not.
Yeah, we're turning the corner. It's so hang on to that hope. Hold that in. I always tell people, if you're feeling something, feel it. Don't try to brush it away. Don't try to whitewash it. Don't try to pretend you're not feeling that. Feel it all the way through, because out of that comes this immense insight and creativity and ideas about how to deal with that. And that's what you want. When you try to squash it, then you stay stuck in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's very good advice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just be where you are. It's okay.
Yeah. And I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday if you're doing the holiday thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not ready, but I'll get ready. And I hope you guys are more ready than I am.
So. Well, you have a big family. You've got lots of moving parts. Are you having Christmas at your place? It's going to be Christmas here for some of the family. And I got my tree up and I got one ornament hanging on it. That was as far as I got. Good start.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, I'll get to that, but I haven't. So it's been up for 3 weeks with one ornament. So, yeah. Yeah. So we should probably wish everybody a happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Happy whatever. Be happy.
Be happy. And, in as much as it can feel uncomfortable, enjoy it. This is a pretty significant time on this planet, and your soul will look back on it with fond memories.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look back and go, holy cow.
Holy cow. I learned a lot.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, thank you, Penny, so much. I guess we'll be back in January
Yeah.
in the new
Yeah.
year.
We'll see you in 2026. See you next year.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining us, and really have a
Yeah.
wonderful holiday. Love and hug the people that are around you.
Oh, amen. Get as
Yeah.
many hugs and give as many hugs as you can.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All
We'll
right.
see you next time.
Okay. Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care of yourselves.